I want to give you guys an update on what's happening at the Frito-Lay factory in the middle of the country. This is wild. So we talked about this on Crystal Kyle and Friends, did another segment on it on Secular Talk. Well, now, many different outlets are picking up on this, and this is a great example of worker solidarity. People across the country are saying, I stand with the workers at the Frito-Lay factory. The facts on the ground are even worse than we knew before. We knew they were bad before. We knew they were bad. We didn't know they were this bad. Take a look.
Company says, we're shocked they went on strike. How are you shocked? Did you think that we would go to 90 hours before we would hit the streets? Forced overtime causes divorces. It caused people to kill themselves that used to work here. Okay, there have been several employees that have killed themselves, okay, that have worked here over the years. Okay, this is a continual thing. It destroys marriages. It destroys families.
We have to do something with the suicide shifts, because to work 12 hours and be off 8 and work 12 hours, you got time, travel time and everything. I said that's a safety risk.
Imagine being an employee in here that has not had a day off for 5 months. That is the reality of what you're seeing. That is the reality of why you're really seeing the picket over here.
4 or 5 years ago, we had a guy, and man, he was working all the time, and he stopped off at a rest stop on I-70, and he fell asleep, and he didn't wake up.
Company wants to call it a squeeze shift. It's nothing squeezing about it. It's suicide.
Yeah, the point system is used to fire people.
We're getting penalized for taking time off.
I've had to cancel so many doctor appointments, dentist appointments that I could not make them because of the forced overtime. Walking out the plant last second, hey, you're forced over. Things need to change. This is not a way you treat people.
My daughter made my sign, and the boot represents Frito-Lay, and under the boots is the people standing, which is us, the workers, the union. We can stop the boot. With the help of the community, with all the people in the union, yeah, we can do it. We can stop the boot.
We are seeing the impact of our unity now. There's no chips in the stores. They can barely get things up and running. But we now see our unity. We now see where our strength is. And I'm sure once we get to go back in there, which we will get to go back in there, we'll be stronger than before.
Massive credit to More Perfect Union. They did a great job, being on the ground there, talking to the workers, getting the facts together. This is wild. 12-hour days, 7 days a week, 5 months straight. There's got to be stronger laws around this stuff. There has to be. There has to be. I mean, it should be by law 2 days off per week. At least. I'd prefer we go to like a 4-day work week, but at least give people the option. You're telling me 12-hour days, 7 days a week, 5 months straight. If you were to take time off, they would basically effectively penalize you. That should be illegal. They're describing how a number of people killed themselves. They were overworked and exhausted and probably had other issues, and that's what happened. Somebody was worked to death. You have to earn points to get time off, and 31 days get you 1 point. Again, 12-hour days, 7 days a week, 5 months straight. By the way, as we discussed in the previous segment on this, they had a raise of 40 cents or something over a 9-year period. So, I mean, call it what it is. This is basically a modern-day sweatshop. That's what this is. And I hate to say it, but it's sort of true. It reminds me of something I learned from Noam Chomsky about the position of the Republican Party in the 1800s is that they wanted to abolish what they call wage slavery, because they say working for a wage, renting your labor on the market, having a job, they say wage labor is not that different from chattel slavery. So they think wage slavery is just like chattel slavery, where you're not really free. If you rent your mind, your body, your labor on the marketplace, and then when you're at work, you basically have no rights, no control, and the boss can tell you to do almost anything. How free are you really? And this is like a great slap in the face and a stark reminder of what it's really like. You know, because, I mean, I'm sure they do it, the way they do it is like veiled threats. You know, little bits here and there. Oh, sure, I mean, you could take a day off if you want, but there might be consequences for it. You're going to lag behind, and, you know, you wouldn't want to lose the job, would you? And so people feel like they had to work 12-hour days, 7 days a week, 5 months straight. Now, thankfully, they have a union, and so the union is now fighting back. And, you know, you have to talk to the union about what their terms are. But when I watch this, I think the laws need to be changed. We need to have much stronger labor laws around this country. Because oftentimes what will happen is the union might get some victories now, but then the management in Frito-Lay, which is really part of PepsiCo, they might decide, well, maybe we'll just send the factory to Mexico now because you guys are becoming too much trouble. So what we need is really strong labor laws and rules around this stuff. You need to incentivize against outsourcing and make it so that they would be penalized to the point where it's not financially worth it for them if they outsource the jobs. You need to have, you know, time off guaranteed by law as the default, as the norm. You need to have stricter rules around overtime. I mean, this stuff seems very basic, but obviously there's, you know, things that are lacking in the law, or at least the enforcement of the law, and that needs to be addressed. That needs to be addressed because this is unacceptable. Nobody should be living like this. And if they feel like this is the only option I have and I have to work 7 days a week, 12-hour days, 5 months straight, that's psychotic, and nobody should be put in that position. Nobody should be put in that position. You know? Hire more people. Give these guys regular hours and hire more people to fill the gap. You know? I mean, how does this stuff even need to be said? By the way, they don't even have climate control in the factory. So in the summers, sometimes people faint from exhaustion and are wheeled out, and they can't take the heat. And in the winter, people are all layered up, and, you know, there's issues there as well. So there should be other laws about what the temperature needs to be within a reasonable range, you know, anywhere from, I don't know, it has to be anywhere from 65 to 75 in there or something. There should be a window that it has to be in. There's a million ways this needs to be addressed. So solidarity with the workers. I hope they get some real concessions and the policies over there change. And listen, I'm usually not one to do the economic boycott stuff, but I mean, I'm not going to buy Frito-Lay products. There's other chips that are out there. Now, granted, I don't know the condition in the factories for the other chips, but could it be worse than this? I don't know, but this does make me want to sort of avoid it until they address this the right way. You know, if they haven't had a raise in nearly a decade, or a 40-cent raise in a decade, they got to fix that. They got to get them more time off. They got to fix the climate in there. Protect the workers. They have to protect the workers. So solidarity with this union. What we need is the laws I laid out, but also we need near universal unionization too. Because if we had that, workers would be taken care of much, much better. Places that have near universal union rates, they have thriving working classes. And they get a lot more time off. They self-report being much happier. They're financially stable. And we have the opposite here. And it's unacceptable. And this is something that if mainstream media, corporate media was doing their job, this would be a huge story. But it's not, you know, on CNN or MSNBC or Fox News. They're not talking about it at all. Credit to some of the print outlets that talked about it, but they're not talking about it at all. It's a fucking shame. You know? So credit to More Perfect Union for getting us this information. This is a huge story, and I hope it spreads even more far and wide.